evolution, we have noted that there is an inbuilt tendency to variation during the reproduction. Okay, during the reproduction there is a certain inbuilt tendency, okay, which are work for the variation during the reproduction. Okay, some variation can be seen, okay, in an organ, both the because of the error in a DNA copy, because of the error in a DNA copy. Okay, as a result what will be seen as sexual reproduction. Let us now look at some consequence of this tendency. Some of the due to certain tendency and error, we can see that there is a variation, okay, in the newborn baby structure, okay, or in a newborn baby structure there is a variation because of a error in a DNA copy, okay, which we said as a evolution. Okay, and in illustration, consider a group of 12 red beetles. Okay, they live, let us assume, in some bushes with a green leaves. Their population will grow by sexual reproduction and therefore can generate a variation. Okay, because of this you can see that there is a lot of population will be seen, okay, by sexual reproduction. By the sexual reproduction, okay, a single or a double or a couple of a red beetle get converted to a lot of population. Okay, many maximum amount of beetle can be seen because of a sexual reproduction. Okay, let us imagine also that crow eat this beetle. Okay, some of the beetle are eaten by a crow. The more beetle the crow eat, the fewer beetle are available to reproduce. Okay, as much as a crow eat a beetle. Okay, what we are saying that in a group of a beetle, okay, certain beetle are eaten by a crow. Okay, and from this we can see that as much as crow eat the beetle, there will be a less amount of beetle will be available to reproduce. Okay, now let us think about some different situations that can develop in the beetle population, and due to which you can see that there is only little bit of population are seen. Okay, here you can see that. Okay, the crow, here a crow is eating a certain beetle. Okay, same way. Okay, this crow is eating a red beetle. Okay, same way here also it is eating a red beetle only. Okay, so in this situation what will be there? Okay, okay, crow will eat little bit of beetle, and due to which here you can see that there is only one green beetle. Okay, but because of eating a red beetle by a crow, okay, the population of a red beetle will be reduced. Okay, now that red beetle will reproduce with a green, and due to which a green colored beetle population will be increased. Okay, and green color population if it is increased. Okay, this way you can see that in the next, okay, in the next situation you can see that at last, okay, red beetle are very few. Okay, 4 are only there, but green population has increased from 1. Okay, from the 1 it get increased to maximum amount, and at last if you can see that there is only how much? Okay, there is only green beetle are there. Okay, so red population will be destroyed, and at last you can see that only green beetle are seen. Okay, so this way this is the phenomena. Okay, same way in the next case you can see that. Okay, in this you can see that only one blue color beetle are there. Okay, so it will reproduce to only 3. Okay, but elephant food, okay, if elephant has what? Okay, put on a food on this beetle, due to which all the red beetle has killed. So there is only 3 of them are left, and 3 of them will reproduce, and it will form a maximum amount of beetle. Okay, So now next situation is, as you can see, okay, a beetle. Okay, in this case what we are saying, in this case a beetle get a certain disease, okay, certain disease, and due to which you can see that this phenomena has seen, okay, and at last it get recovered. In the first situation, a color variation arises during reproduction, so that there is only one beetle that is green in the color instead of red. Okay, here you can see that. Okay, and this beetle moreover can pass the color on to its progeny, and so that all its progeny beetle are green. Okay, so here you can see that all of them are green. Okay, same way. Now the next case. Crow cannot see a green colored beetle on the green leaves of the bushes, and therefore cannot eat them. Okay, so as you can see that, okay, crow will eat only red beetle, and due to which, okay, population of the red beetle will decrease as compared to a green. And what happened then? The progeny of a green beetle is not eaten. Okay, so from this you can see that green beetle will not be eaten by a crow, and at last you can see that. Okay, at last there is only green beetle will be left. Okay, while the progeny of a red beetle continue to be eaten. Okay, continuously crow are eating a red beetle. So at last, okay, there is not a single red beetle will be seen. Okay. As a result, there are more and more green beetle than red one in the beetle population. Okay, so you can see that there is only what, okay, only green beetle will be seen. Okay, and red beetle will be removed from the population. And in the second situation, you can see that a color variation arises during the reproduction. But now it results in the beetle that is a blue in color instead of red. Okay, instead of red, okay, you can see that a blue beetle is also existing. This beetle can also pass the color on its progeny. Okay, it will pass the color, and so that all its progeny beetle are blue. Okay, so all of them will be at last will be all, okay, blue, and crow can see blue colored beetle in the green leaves of the bushes, and as a result they can see a red one, and therefore can eat them. Okay, what happened initially in the population as it expand? There was a few blue beetle, but most are red. Okay, most of them was what, in a second situation you can see that most of them are red. But at this point an elephant came. Okay, during that what happened? Elephant has came and stamped on the bushes where the beetle live. Okay, where the beetle are living. Okay, elephant has put on his food. Okay, here you can see that elephant has put on his food, and due to which coincidentally our red colored beetle has killed. Okay, due to this food, and this kill most of the beetle. By chance, the few beetle that have survived are mostly blue. Okay, in this case you can see that the survived beetle are all of them are in blue in color, and the beetle population slowly expand again, and slowly what happened? Population is slowly expand, but now the beetle in the population are mostly blue, but most of them are what? Okay, most of them are blue in color. And it is obvious that in both the situation you can see that what started out as a rare variation came to be common characteristic in the population. Okay, in the other word, the frequency of an inherited trait changes over generation. Okay, and since genes control a trait, we can say that the frequency of a certain gene in a population changes over generation. Generation to generation it is changes, and this is essence of an idea of evolution. Okay, so this is the idea of evolution, that by a generation to generation, certain extent of what happened are some of the characteristics as well as frequency of a particular object or a particular organ has changes from a previous one. But there are interesting difference too in the two situations. In the first case, and the variation become common because it gave a survival advantage. In other words, it was naturally selected. We can see that the natural selection is exerted by the crow. Okay, crow has selected a naturally. The more crow there are, the more red beetle will be eaten. Okay, as the population of a crow or a number of crow is greater, a number of red beetle will be eaten by that crows. And the more the proportion of a green beetle in the population will be. Okay, and so as you can see that by a reproduction, okay, more green beetle will be produced, and thus naturally selection is directing evolution in the beetle population. It results in the adaptation in the beetle population to fit their environmental beetle. Okay, in the second situation, okay, now if we talk about the second situation, in the second situation, the color changes gave no survival advantage. Instead, it was simply a matter of accidental survival of a beetle of one color. Okay, accidentally what happened? A certain color beetle has survived, which is blue. Okay, because an elephant is putting his food, due to which all the red has been killed. And accidentally or coincidentally, a blue colored beetle has survived, and due to which a population of a blue color has increased. Okay, and the common character of resulting population, the elephant would not be cause such major role in beetle population if the beetle population had been very large. So, accident in small population can changes the frequency of some genes. Okay, so accidentally what happened? A change has been seen in the population, and even if they give no survival advantage, this is the notion of genetic drift, which provide a diversity without any adaptation. Okay, so now consider a third situation. Okay, if we talk about the third situation, okay, in a third situation, what we are seeing? In a third situation, you can see that in this, as the beetle population begin to expand, the bushes start suffering from the plant disease. Okay, bushes has started suffering from the plant disease. If the bushes get started suffering a plant disease, okay, in this case, what third case, what is seen that in third case, bushes which are there, okay, they are suffering from the plant disease. Okay, so the amount of leaf material for the beetle is reduced, and due to which you can see that amount of leaf material which are necessary, okay, for their nutrition. Okay, so it get what? Okay, its amount of a leaf material has reduced. Okay, so the beetle are poorly nourished as a result, and due to which what happened? Okay, beetle will not get sufficient or pure amount of leaf material for their digestion as well as for their nutrition, and due to which, okay, they are poorly nourished, and the average weight of adult beetle decreases from what it was used when the leaves were plentiful. Okay, so here in this case you can see that what happened, a leaf or a plant is suffering from a certain disease, and due to which, okay, what beetle will not get sufficient amount of what? Okay, sufficient amount of nutrition or nourishment, and due to which, okay, its weight or its nurture, okay, are very less, and its weight is also less, but there is no genetic change occurring. After a few years, few beetle generation or such scarcity, the plant disease is eliminated. Okay, and there is a lot of leaf food. As this time, what will be the expect the weight of the beetle to be? Okay, but this is for a sufficient period of time only. But after a certain time, what happened? A reef was suffering from the plant disease was eliminated, was removed. So now beetle will get a sufficient amount of plants and leaf, and it will get a proper amount of nourishment. So it will be alright. Okay. So in this case, you can see that in middle time or a middle period, what happened? A plant was suffering from a certain disease, and due to which beetle cannot get a proper amount of nourishment. Due to which, okay, beetle has to suffer is weight lack, acquired and inherited trait. We discussed the idea that the germ cell of sexual reproduction are made of specialized reproductive tissue. Specialized reproductive tissue, it is depend on it. If the weight of the beetle is reduced, if the weight of a beetle is reduced because of the starvation, okay, that will not change the DNA of germ cell. Therefore, low weight is not a trait that can inherit the progeny of a starving beetle. Okay, low weight is not a trait. Okay, can inherit the progeny. Therefore, even if some generation of a beetle are low in weight, okay, because of a starvation, okay, if the certain generation beetle having a weight less, okay, there is no scarcity will be seen, or inheritance also not can be seen. That is not an example of evolution, since the change in its inherit over generation. Change in non-reproductive tissue cannot be passed on the DNA of a germ cell. Therefore, the experience of an individual during the lifetime cannot be passed on its progeny. It cannot direct evolution. Direct evolution cannot be seen. Okay? So, consider another example of how an individual cannot pass on to the its progeny. The experience of its lifetime. If we breed a group of a mice, if we are breeding a group of mice, all their progeny will have tail as expected. Okay. Now, if the tail of these mice are removed by surgery in each generation, do this, the tailless mice have tailless progeny? The answer is no. And it makes a sense because removal of a tail cannot change the gene of a germ cell of a mice. Okay. Once again I am repeating. Okay. We are breeding a group of mice. Okay, we are breeding a group of mice, and all their progeny will have a tail. Okay, all of them. Okay, we are breeding a certain mice, and all of them having a tail. Okay, but now if the tail of these mice are removed by surgery, okay, we are removing, okay, a group of mice. Okay, tail are removed. Okay, all the mice tail are removed by a surgery. Okay. Now, okay, after a generation or in the next generation, okay, in the next generation, what will be? Okay, if we can see that the new mice will be of tailless, no. Why? Because by essentially we can see that removal of a tail cannot change a gene. Okay, gene cannot be seen can be changed by removing a tail. Okay. So, a new germ cell will be of a tail only. Okay. So, this is the reason why the idea of heredity and genetic that we have discussed earlier are so essential for understanding evolution. Okay. So, for evolution there is a necessity, okay, of understanding evolution. Okay. Even Charles Darwin, who came up with the idea of evolution species by natural selection in the 19th century, could not work out the mechanism. It is ironic that he could have done so if he had seen the significance of an experiment. His Australian contemporary, okay, Gregor Mendel, okay, was doing, but then Mendel too did not notice that a Darwin work as a relevant to his. Okay, so all of them have worked for this. Okay, now speciation. What we have seen so far of its microevolution? That means that the change are small. The change which are seen by a generation to generation are very small. Even though they are significant, then also it is very small. Also, they are simply changes the common characteristic of a particular species. Okay, common characteristic of a certain species are changed. Okay, particular species are changing its common or a simple characteristic also. Okay, but this does not properly explain as to how new species come into existence. Okay, this is not explained that how new species came into existence. That can be said that happened only if this group of beetle we are thinking about split into two populations that cannot reproduce with each other. Okay, when this happens, they can be called two independent species. Okay, this is only possible if a two species are or a two population are separated, okay, with each other, and due to which two independent species can be seen. So, can we extend the reason we have used about the explain such species? Okay. Consider what will happen if the species of the beetle feed on are spread widely over a mountain range. Okay, the beetle population become very large as a result, but individual beetle feed mostly a few nearby species throughout their lifetime. Okay, throughout their lifetime, okay, beetle will eat few of them species only. Okay, so they do not travel far. So in this huge population of a beetle, there will be a subpopulation in their neighborhood. Since a male and female beetle have to meet for the reproduction to happen, most reproduction will be within this subpopulation only. Okay, subpopulation. By a subpopulation, this reproduction can be seen. Of course, an occasional adventurous beetle might go from one side to another. Okay, adventurous occasional beetle will go from one side to another. Okay, so from at that during that time also they will increase their population. Or a beetle is picked up by the crow from one side and drop it to the other side without being eating. Okay, what happened? A crow is picking a beetle from one side and it is throwing to the another side. Then also it is possible. In either case, okay, the migrant beetle, okay, the beetle which is picked from the one side has thrown to the another is said to be a migrant beetle. Will reproduce with the local population. Okay, it will reproduce with whom? Okay, local populated beetle, and this will result in the gene of a migrant beetle entering to a new population, and due to which, okay, they will get a new germ cell and new beetle will be seen. And this kind of gene flow is bound to happen between population, that is partly but not completely separated. Okay, it is not completely separated, but little bit of characteristic has changed. If however between two such Subpopulation are largely were common in the existence. The two population will be further isolated, and the level of a gene flow between them will be decreased even further. Over generation, genetic drift will accumulate different changes in a subpopulation. Also, natural selection may also operate different geographic location. Thus, for example, in the territory of a subpopulation of a crow and element by the eagle. But this does not happen for the other subpopulation, where crow number are very high. Okay, one crow is what? Okay, one crow is eliminated from the ecosystem, but rest of them are also there. So as a result, the green variation will not be selected at the first sight, while it will be strongly selected at the second. Okay. So together, the process of genetic drift and the natural selection will result in these two isolated subpopulation of a beetle and becoming more and more different from each other. Okay, so they are what? Okay, all of them are different from each other, and eventually a member of these two groups will be incapable of reproducing with each other, and even if they happen to meet. Okay, so there can be a number of ways by which this can happen. Okay, this can happen by a number of ways. If the DNA changes are several enough, such as change in the number of chromosomes, so the chromosome number is also changes, and eventually germ cell of two group cannot fuse with each other. They will not fuse with each other, and new variation emerges in which green female will not mate with the red male, but only with the green male, and this allow very strong natural selection for greenness. Okay, so green will reproduce with a green only. Okay, so now if a such green female beetle meet a red male from the other group, here behavior will ensure that there is no reproduction between them, and effectively new species of a beetle are being generated. Okay.
In our earlier class, we have discussed about evolution, in which changes are small but significant. This is called as microevolution. But microevolution doesn't explain how new species come into existence. Anyway, what is meant by species and how do new ones evolve? A species is defined as a group of individuals that actually or potentially interbreed in nature. Suppose if the beetle population is divided into two groups that cannot reproduce with each other, then they are called as two independent species. Now let us assume one group is in the bushes over a mountain range. The beetle population will be large. As the beetles do not move to far places for feed, they form as subpopulations in neighborhood. Most of the reproduction process occurs in subpopulation. If any one of the beetle migrates to far place, or if any crow picks them and drops at other place, there would be chances for reproduction with other groups. This results in the genes of the migrant beetle enter into new group. This type of gene flow bound to occur partly but not completely separated. If any separation occurs in between two subpopulations by river change course or mountain race, etc., the two groups will be isolated and level of gene flow is also decreased. Over generations, genetic drift will collect different changes in subpopulation. In case of beetles, as we learned, the green variation will not be selected in the first progeny, but it will be strongly selected in the second progeny. The combination of the processes of genetic drift and natural selection will result in more variations. Eventually, members of these two groups will be incapable of reproducing with each other even they meet. If any changes in DNA are severe, such as a change in the number of chromosomes, eventually the germ cells of the two groups cannot fuse with each other or a new variation emerges. For example, if green females will not mate with red males, but only with green males, This allows very strong natural selection for greenness. If such a green female beetle meets a red male from the other group, her behavior will ensure that there is no reproduction between them.